Gundam.tk presents Infinite Justice. Hey again everyone, thanks for watching. Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs from Gundam.tk, and I'm here with a Master Grade Infinite Justice Gundam. Don't forget to check out the earlier parts to see all of those things in a lot of detail, but now it's time to actually make the Gundam itself and see how cool it is. When he's all completed, the Master Grade Infinite Justice, well, what do you think? I think he looks pretty cool for a couple of reasons. A, it's the colors, of course. You know, I'm so used to building lead Gundams that everything I have is pretty much white, blue, yellow, and red. But in this case, just by having the black, the silver-ish inner frame, along with the white and the green trim, again, the only thing that's disappointing is that the blue doesn't stand out on the commander fin on the top. But the way the shoulders stick out, the way that it's got these points at the edge of the side skirts, the way the beam sabers stick there in the pockets, etc., that is a pretty cool looking Gundam, I have to say. Posability is alright for this guy. If you pull up the front skirts, you're able to bring the legs all the way forward. If you pop the side skirt up, you can see that it's going to go all the way up. You're able to pull off the full splits, no problem at all. This thing is in the back, but again, it's on that swing mechanism that you can bring up. And if you do that, you would be able to pivot the leg back. You can see that it separates there a little bit at the hip joint. And when you put these in, you've got to be careful that they're in all the way. And as mentioned during the parts review, there goes the beam saber. If you pop that up, you can pop these legs out for more kicking action if you so choose. Now, outside of these wanting to fall off, they do fit in there pretty well 8 times out of 10. The shoulders are going to be able to rotate it all around like this. You're also able to bring the shoulders out of the chest like that. So of course this moves independently up and down, and you could dislocate the shoulder if you chose to. But no need to do that. You're able to pivot that around. You saw the 180 before and there. And of course we're just going to put the weapons on, and the head is on the double bend mechanism. So you're able to have him look quizzical, angry and forward, or down. Flat foot test, if you move them, off they go. Not too bad actually that way. And forward to back. Can you see that there in the camera? Well, it's starting to pull up there, but you're going to get a decent spread there. So good mobility with the legs and ankles so far. For height comparison with the legs, though not necessarily the toes lined up there, you can see that Infinite Justice is a lot bigger. And of course, most of the Seed Destiny suits are 19 meters. And then when you add on the effect of the shoulders jutting out, the huge V-fin, and the giant unicorn-type horn on the top, that guy comes across as being a lot bigger than the granddaddy. And for some late UC goodness, there we have the Crossbone Gundam X1 Full Cloth on the right. Don't forget to check out its review. And I'm trying to remember in G Generations which one of these two suits is more expensive. I think it's that one. To load on the backpack, you're going to put this yellow part down, just bend this in, slide the batarang in like that, make sure these are in place, and then, well, you'll fix that balance first. Now everybody wants to see this, of course, armed up, and with that backpack on. He was already a little bit filled out because of the shoulders jutting out and the big V-fins, but once you've got that backpack on, especially because it's in different colors, it really stands out. In terms of colors, the semi-shiny silver on the back, along with the yellow and the purplish, if you want to call it that, look really good. From the front, there's no yellow that shows through, though, so it's primarily just going to be those black tips and the purple. But especially from the front, it really fills out. Not that everything's perfect, of course. These beam sabers on the hips, 8 out of 10 I said earlier, I'm way off. They've been falling out every time you try to do anything. And as you notice, these cannons come around. They're on a slide mechanism that can move up and down. But I've got one that's quite loose, and so it falls out of position quite often. And it also doesn't line up left to right, so you may have to end up using some sticky tack if that ends up getting out of line. Armed up though, no problems putting these on. The hands, the manipulators have a peg on there, so the rifle is going to sit in there properly, and the shield just clips on and stays on there with a satisfying amount of security. So all of a sudden, while the full cloth looked pretty armed to the teeth just a moment ago, this guy has filled out, and so far, this Master Grade is looking really good. Ground poses aren't necessarily this guy's forte. They're not mine either as a poser. But when you put the shield on here, it doesn't fit in that snugly most of the time, but if you do get it in just the right position, it will stay on. Although because it has these white parts sticking up there, if you have it angled up, the shoulders are going to get in the way, and it's not like Destiny where you can pop them off or anything. The beam saber is just a single one here. The double one might look a little bit strange when it's not in the air, but otherwise it's looking pretty good. The beam saber is of the proper length, and because it's got that bend and the shiny appearance, I think this guy comes across as looking pretty sparkly and warrior-like. Does that make sense? For the earlier poses, I should have had these actually up instead of in the down position. To get this guy up in the air, you're going to slide these cannons down, and then once you've done that, you're going to slide, well, you better get the head out of the way. Bring the whole thing up here. It's on a bend mechanism underneath. Those cannons are going to hit the V-fins, so you got to be a little bit careful there. Once you get those underneath, what you're supposed to do is bend these gray parts out of the way, but I've already got them out of the way. And once you've done that, you slide these parts forward. And with the other one forward, then you're ready to pop these out, which brings the wings out automatically, and then you angle it up, and all of a sudden, we have a very aerial-looking Infinite Justice. Though he looks like he's trying hard to win the 100-meter dash by leaning forward by a nose, you are able to keep him balanced, even with the backpack all the way up like that. Depending on the way you've got this arm twisted with the shield and the effect parts on though, you can have some weight issues. With the backpack on, however, the Infinite Justice is clearly made for aerial poses. So whether it's Darth Maul double beam sabers or the shield, he's just got so many weapons. It's just a question of what kind of pose do you want to put him in. And with the legs, with the way the thighs split there and the fact that they can do full splits and come forward all the way, you're going to have no problems getting those out of the way. One knock, however, is that these are supposed to often be posed above the head, and sometimes they're going to stay in place, but other times they're just going to collapse, so they're going to fall onto the V-fin. So the only way you're going to be able to get around that is by either tacking them into place somehow, or of course gluing or strengthening the bond, or just by putting them underneath the V-fin. And just in case he doesn't have enough beam sabers, you can always add the effect parts onto the backpack. With the shield, you're able to spin this grip up, and because it has the indent there, you're able to attach it directly onto the manipulator. I'm impressed that you're able to keep the shield all the way straight-armed as he goes to meet Shin, supposed lead of the series. And anyway, the legs again are impressing me. They're a little bit hard to get into position, but once they do, they are going to stay there no problem at all. And so far no weight issues, even though I did take off a part there, and I could have taken off that part there as well if there were any further problems. And though I don't necessarily have him set up in the best position, Wayne Rooney, Char, eat your heart out. Not to mention the effect parts. So what do you think so far, everybody? That's my review so far of the mobile suit. Stay tuned for my verdict on this whole kit so far. Now, of course, there's a million different poses that you can pull off, and you can copy some from the box, from the manual. Take a look online. Pretty much, I had the feeling you'll be able to get this Justice into that position. Anyway, stay tuned for my final answer, but as always, this is Robert 184 2Rs 2Bs. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below of the video and the suit itself. See you next part, everybody. And if you don't make sure that you have the waist joint in there properly, you may end up with this. And that's pretty creepy.